Oh, so I got lost in my own drama today, my problems, uh, that I'm having to work through. Again, it happens all the time. The difference this time is that my problems really demand another level of awareness and perception from the perspective of just being a human than ever before. So my problems in the past are like everybody's problems, most of them. And the problems that I'm dealing with at the moment are beyond me, are beyond my capacity to effectively compartmentalize that problem into just my life. In other words, I've had previous suicidal thoughts, and yeah, I've had a few failed attempts. It's a bit hard to hear. So it really says, when it comes to my own life, the problems before were enough to say, this is a question. Is it worth it? And now the problems are even worse. So trying to find solutions to my problems for myself are just not going to cut it. In other words, I've got all of these problems. Gabriel, what can we do for you that would make that better? We can't do anything with your problems, but is there anything we could trade? What is it we could do to you and your life, for you and your life, that would equate the balance? And I've been doing that for a few years now. And life has been very clever, the way it's done that to me. Life has been very clever, the way it's done that to me. It promised me something that I said, yeah, sure, I'll trade my problems for that. That sounds kind of okay. Three years later, I still don't have it. And I've been alive for 3 years. And I've had to go through a lot of difficulties since. So whatever that original trade was, life didn't come good the way I thought. The way I thought the trade would work. We'll give you this, you stop complaining about your problems and suck it up. Fast forward 3 years, my life is arguably better in certain ways, and other ways worse. Now those decisions were taken out of my control. Shortly after I made that initial deal with life, okay, life, you give me this, I'll stop complaining. I got put under, I don't know how to describe it. What happened was, it was when I burnt my boat down. I burnt my boat down. So life was still hard. I made the deal, life was still hard, but I had the deal in my mind. And the boat was just me dealing with life in the present moment. A mad decision. What could someone have possibly been experiencing to burn their own home down? But I took myself to psychiatric hospital as a result. I just knew that that was the right thing to do. I didn't feel I had any psychological problems. I felt it's an unfair, unjust life that I was living. But the world's still the world, and I need to be accountable for burning my boat down. So I just took myself to hospital. In hospital, I experienced quite a lot of trauma, and something that pushed my physical body to limits I never thought it would be pushed. It was like I was falling asleep, standing up. In other words, imagine you're standing up right now. You haven't got the ability to sit down. Your body has a problem. You can't sit down. You can't lie down. Not unless your body feels tired. But what it was my brain, my eyes were saying, sleep. My body wasn't tired, but my eyes and my brain were saying, sleep. And because I wasn't sitting down or lying down, I was standing up. It was a very hard experience to go through. And for all intensive purposes, kind of felt like I was dying. You're standing up. Your body's not tired. You do not need to sit down or lie down. But you have this uncontrollable urge to fall asleep. Somehow I got through that. Somehow this body got through that experience. On top of that, there was always the antipsychotic medication. I experienced a lot of trauma in hospital on that admission. And I had to come out of hospital without my home. My home was everything to me. The truth is, I couldn't accept what reality was asking me to take and experience. It was too much. On some level, my brain has shut down to it. I just cannot deal with life. But I'm a survivalist, and I program my body to function based upon survival. So I've been running a survival program for the past 3 years. Just function, make it better, survive. And I haven't really been here. The long and short of it is, my problems in the present moment are sort of being made more aware to my consciousness. In other words, my brain said, I can't deal with this. Just run on survival mode, block it all out. It's not happening until there's some sort of balance with how bad my life is to what life gives me. And life can't really give any more to me. What more am I going to take that makes my problems go away? So I've realised I have to change. I have to do the changing. And I accepted that. And what I had to change was how life feeds me. I had to change the dynamics of this balance. In other words, before it was like all your problems on one side, all the good in your life on the other. And what life has done with that trade, when I made that trade initially, it was about me first. There's no two ways about it. I'm a survivalist, so my mindset is me first. And it said, I'll give you all the money in the world. To keep it simple, it was something along that line. I'll give you all the money in the world, deal or no deal. I said, deal. What else am I going to do? Go around with my same old problems and mope around? I'm still going to be here. I've done this too many times. It's best I stop fighting and just accept all the money in the world to take away my problems. I could do a lot of good with that. That was in my mind too. How I would use the money would be to do good for people. But it was for me first. 3 years later, and life cleverly says to me, you know what, Gabriel, we promised you all the money in the world, and we know you haven't got all the money in the world yet. And that wasn't part of the deal. The deal was it needed to be near instant. It needed to be smooth flowing to all the money in the world from the place of my problems. But life the other week showed me how at the moment, without all the money in the world, and all the money in the world now made real and said, look, we promised you all the money in the world near instantly, but the truth is, here's a lot of the money in the world with hard work. 3 years ago, I wouldn't have been able to accept that. I can't really accept it at the moment, not by itself. But with a little bit of thinking, I saw how the rest of my life was sort of balanced out. All the other little things in my life sort of balanced the equation. And there was one sticking point. Okay, I have to do a lot of work, and yeah, all right, it's not going to be all the money in the world, but it's going to be a lot of money from the world. And I have to put in hard work. That's fine. I know what I have to do. The past 3 years has made that clear. But what you wanted to use all that money for, you said, was to clean up the world. You know you want to buy another boat now. You need another boat. But that's all you really want. You don't want anything else from that money. The rest of the money is for everybody. Kind of like Robin Hood, steal from the rich, give to the poor. But what did Robin Hood keep for himself? That's the question. So I'd like another boat, but it's not definite. It's not definite that in my weird spiritual world, even with all the money in the world, I would buy myself another boat. It's probable, but it's not definite. And I'm okay with that. Because life showed me I really do have it within me that my drive, my purpose, is to redistribute that wealth. Just got to check my phone's on charge. Yeah. Redistribute that wealth. In other words, I've kind of killed myself. Whatever that survival mentality was before is now not for me. It's for the whole world. And the one real sticking point is that to accept this deal, to who I was before, I would be angry. That's the best I can see it at the moment. I would be angry, and I don't like anger. And I really saw it that I have no choice but to be angry now. To get on and say, right, let's get on with this hard work. Let's get the world tidied up and let all the other good things that are hidden away from the past 3 years start to come out. But to do that, I have to be angry. We've given you a good deal when you're happy with the deal, but the only bit you're not happy with is being angry. And I know when life gets really hard, the best thing to do is to listen to life. In those places and times when it seems like there's no amount of thinking that can be done that would resolve the problem. No matter what we can do, we're not going to find an answer. But we need to do something. I listen to life. I just look at my life and say, look, I'm obviously overthinking this. Let's keep it really simple. What is life saying to me? it doesn't need a lot. You just need to sit back, remove the fight, the fighting, because in those places we have to fight. We've got a problem. We need a solution. How do we do that? We fight. We fight ourselves, we fight things, we fight nature, we fight other people, but we have to have a balance, and it has to be really on point with other people, because we say fight, but it's not to fight other people. The fight is within us, and we're interacting with this person. The fight is not with them. The fight is with us, practicality and communication. And it's to really be clear on that. But looking at that, it's how we look at life to find the answers. Life isn't trying to fight us. Life is just life. So we don't get upset. We're like, right, fair enough, life. This is you just trying to communicate. I'm finding it really hard. What are you trying to say to me? I haven't got any more. I haven't got any more fight towards you. I know the fight. It's an everyday thing. I haven't got any fight towards you at the moment. What is it you've been trying to say to me? And often it's the first thing that pops into our head, the obvious thing. And if we've done enough to not be fighting in that moment, to stop the fight in that moment, we'll see that simple thing that just pops into our head is often what life is trying to say. And I've got quite good at that. And this time life is saying, you need to be angry. So I said, fine. I know if life is trying to tell me, be angry, and I just really don't like it. I've got autistic tendencies, and I've tried to refrain from anger my whole life. I see it as quite a dirty, unconscious thing to do. But life is saying, do this. So for myself, it's quite disgusting. I wouldn't do it for myself. So I'm angry for all of us. I'm angry for all of us. And I don't know how to do anger. I don't know how to do anger. So I had my problems today, and they're beyond a human life experience. In other words, no matter what I'm going through, it's just not worth it. Not worth it. Just burn your home down again. If I didn't live in a flat with other people, that's the situation. It's that bad. I've learnt my lesson. I know that gets me nowhere. But I say it gets me nowhere. It got me somewhere. But it's not something I want to do twice. And I'm never going to do that in a building with other homes. I'm not an arsonist when it comes to other people. It's just, that was my own home. No risk to anyone else. And I took the opportunity to experience something in this life that most people never get the experience to do. So I'm not going to do it again, but the problem is really that bad. So I'm trying to deal with it. Okay, I know things are bad, but there's all of this change that I've got to implement, and I've got to be angry now. So I was sort of getting a bit angry. I finally managed to drag myself outside, try and calm down, just to get some fresh air with a smoke. And I'm looking at people, and it's like I want to fight people. I want to pick people apart. I want to argue with every little bit of detail about people and the way I see them and their lives and what that means to the collective and everything else. So on one level, I'm looking at this couple, and in me, I've got all of this mental thinking saying, this is wrong about you both, this is wrong. And I'm looking at them, and they just look like the most adorable couple. There must have been about 35, 40. And the man, he's a fully grown man, within the space of them being a couple, in love, they're obviously in love, you can tell the way they're with each other. And it's not an arrogant love. You know where some people are just tongue down each other's throats in the street. No, it was a really pleasant thing to actually observe. If you're ever going to observe a couple, it was really pleasant. And the remote control car the man was holding just made it look adorable on one level, but it was like everything that the fighting was arguing with on the other side. So that's not the place to be. I knew this isn't where it's at. They're not doing anything wrong really on one level. All of the fighting is after an ideal. It's after an ideal. It's after perfection right now. So I managed to get my mind straight to the situation. Well, I managed to say, I need to make a live stream and talk about things. So fighting is in the right place again. And I managed to get what I needed from a few pulls of tobacco outside, bring myself back in and find myself making a live stream. But you're going to have to forgive me and give me some time, because learning to be angry is one thing, but when you're learning to be angry in a situation that says you can be angry all of the time, it's all there to be angry at, all of the little problems. It's an education lesson, so I need to be slow with myself. I need to be patient with myself, and I need to be honest with myself that I really am dealing with problems that I can't believe life would ask a human being to experience. And I need to remember, if I can get over those two steps, what gives this life fire now, in other words, what this life runs on, is Robin Hood. Going out there, robbing the world of as much money as possible, and redistributing the wealth. And that's really it. If you've got any tips on how to be proactively angry, that's what I'm looking for. By the time this video is worth watching to anybody, there's no point commenting. I would have already done it. But a little message on the end is to say, for your life, if you have the choice not to be angry, that's the better way. It really is. Otherwise, smoke, coffee, and back to work.